At Zededa, we focus on edge management and orchestration, and this is actually a key piece for different verticals, but it's actually key in factory automation, for instance, when it comes to actually needing to update software, needing to deploy new software, in the future updating and deploying inference engines for AI models, etc. And this is, there's multiple pieces to this, but in general, the sweet spot is remote infrastructure. So you have industrial PCs, you have ruggedized servers sitting out in different parts of the network. In some cases, there's nobody there at all, basically unattended. In some cases, there's technicians there that are not, IT staff, and being able to operate that stuff securely at scale, that's a key thing that we bring to the table. So one might think that once you have actually something deployed up and running, right, the sort of usual, even IT adages, if it's not broken, don't fix it. But it turns out that in today's world, particularly as you connect things up, because you want to extract data, you want to build more things off of that data, you will find out that, well, you might have IT security concerns, meaning that if there is some CVEs that you need to patch, whether that's in the underlying operating system in your application, how can you actually go and get those things actually deployed at scale? Think of having hundreds of different installations, maybe thousands. We have customers with tens of thousands of installations. If it's just a simple, bug fix, security bug fix, how can I roll that stuff out without sending out a fleet of trucks with people with USB sticks, right? And if this is for security reasons, it's actually key that the mechanism you do this is fully trustworthy, so that that's not an attack vector in itself. So that's actually one thing that is actually key to enable this. And this is key even in ISA 95 sort of industrial networks, because you have various attack vectors. It's not necessarily that people are trying to connect to your infrastructure. They can get viruses in through various means, and you need to be able to block those things, no matter what. The other thing that people will find once they have deployed this is that they now can actually use this for sort of adding value to their customers, whether that's making their product better by implementing new features, or whether it's about upselling things, saying, hey, you're running our infrastructure, we have this new capability, we can now do this additional thing. You can actually use this infrastructure to do that. You're just deploying a new workload, a new application, whatever. And in some cases, in this rapidly evolving space where we have early adopters for new technology, being able to work closely with those lead customers, meaning that you can actually iterate. With the lead customers, it might be okay to update this thing because they're trying it out in the lab, and later in production. You can safely do this in production, maybe every 2 weeks with a lead customer, because you're co-developing this. In sort of real production, well, you might only do this stuff every 3 or 6 months, but there's still value to be able to do this, whether it's for patching, whether it's for additional features, new things. And this pace will actually accelerate as people start figuring out these sort of use cases that make sense for edge AI, where your models are going to update more often. You might also have the inference engines that execute the models when you're doing inference at the edge that might need to be updated because you find more efficient ways of running them, right? This software ecosystem as well as hardware ecosystem is going to evolve faster and faster. So being able to choose at what rate do you update what is actually key. And this is where this orchestration piece is actually critical, because without that, the rate of change you can do is basically constrained by how many technicians do you have with trucks and USB sticks. So that level of flexibility, and you choose when you actually go do the updates. So I think that being here at the ARC forum, it's actually the second forum that I'm attending. The thing that I find key is actually the networking part, the actually people they meet here, because they're coming from different parts of the industry, right? Some of them are actually more suppliers and actually the users. And the sort of discussion that you have here, that's actually the key thing. That's triggered by the actual sessions that cover different topics that are relevant. But yeah, it's definitely the people in the networking with sort of decision makers, people that are building these systems, deploying them, operating them. In my mind, this is new in the sense that we're doing more and more sort of IT plus OT, right? And being able to learn from each other. What's your experience? What are your constraints? That is actually the key thing to move this stuff forward. And this is a great place to do that.